I think I want to talk about something. Okay, so if I made a good thumbnail and I titled this right, which I will do in the future, you already know that this is something to do with the weirdest, craziest, almost sublime out there. Sublime's not a right word for it. Sublime is when nature is overwhelming, I think. Surreal. That's the word I was looking for. The most surreal sales day I ever had. I think I sat on this long enough. Uh, it's been about 25 years since this happened. My first job out of university, now, mind you, this is way back in the day in Canada, in a small town when minimum wage was 5.15 an hour Canadian. So for you Canadians, that's 2.20s an hour after you factor out the taxes. Yes, boy. If you can't tell, I lived in the East Coast, Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. Uh, I got suckered into a door-to-door sales, multi-level marketing job. And I actually did it for 3 years, if I remember, 4 years. And we went all over Canada. We knocked on doors for 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. And because we were moving offices all over the place, we lived with the people we worked with. My first wife was the girl who I met in our troop. Troop was not what we called it back then. I remember asking her why you picked me, and she was like, you were the least intimidating and you were really good at sales, so you were always happy and charming. And I was like, least intimidating? She's like, yeah, we had some creepy people. So we did. Like, these kind of places hire people that, like, no one else will hire. I didn't know that. It was a small town, Nova Scotia, and I was just excited because I saw money being flashed in front of me. I'm like, oh, man. And to their credit, I learned everything I will ever learn from sales from that company and brought it to everything that I've done since, including enterprise level account executive, software sales. Like, of course, I learned tech stuff since then, how to use certain software to sit at home and look up leads and call them and automate emails and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's different than door knocking. But any objection, any conversation I ever had, oh, my kid's crying. Hopefully that doesn't get picked up. I learned from this door-to-door sales company. Is my door closed? It is. I'm checking the audio levels. Well, I will tell you about this place later. I actually survived 2 cult-like jobs over the years. That one and a very predatory McDojo that taught a decent martial art, but also really abused its not sexually or verbally, come on now, abused its martial arts instructors. And I worked for them for quite a few years and trained with them for 10 years too. But back to the door-to-door. I was all the way on the other side of Canada. I lived in the East Coast, but we traveled all over the place. I was in British Columbia in the mountains, and it was beautiful. I was in a small town called Mission, BC. And we sold coupons. We sold these coupons, and they looked like a calendar. They just opened up like a flat calendar. And on the bottom right, you'd see the price, usually about 20 bucks Canadian. And then you'd be given something for free, given something for free that was worth more than 20 bucks to get your money back. And then you'd get 2 for 1 at a business that is not typically willing to do 2 for 1. Like, they don't have that kind of, they don't do coupons. They do like flyers and junk mail, but they never do 2 for 1. So sometimes it would be golf, sometimes oil changes, sometimes restaurants. The company was called DS Max, if you ever want to look them up. It's crazy. I think they sell condos now, and they're mostly not in North America because they're very scammy. And they would have a lot of cultish sales stuff, but we're not going to talk about that yet. I just wanted you to know a little bit about what it was like working for these guys. You'd go to a neighborhood, you'd get dropped off by the person who has a car, and you'd walk around a neighborhood with a little map, and you'd knock on all the doors, and you'd try to sell coupons. And then after 4 o'clock, you'd do it again because people would be home from work. And then you'd go home around 6. But you started at 9 a.m. and you had to be up at 8. And it was a long day because then you'd come back to the office afterwards and settle up and hand in leftover merchandise and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in Mission, BC. Okay, we painted the picture of what the place is like. I'm in Mission, BC. I got my coupons, and I'm selling 2-for-1 dinners at the one restaurant in town. The one nice restaurant in town, the one non-fast food. It was something Tree. I bet you it's still there. And everybody loved the place anyway. So it was so easy to sell. It was like, hey, I'm working on behalf of this restaurant. And what happens is you get on a bit of a sales high. I ran out of coupons the first time through, and I had to run into someone else's territory, grab theirs, and go back and sell. And I was on a sales high, and what a sales high means is my ego and my confidence was through the roof because everyone was saying yes to me. I was joking with people. I was also quite young. And okay, there were 3 things that this is hard to pull this out of the memory banks and do it in chronological order. First thing, my first time through, I am going through a cul-de-sac at the end of the territory. And I'm heading up to the cul-de-sac, actually. And 4 or 5 people are all like, you're not going to do that cul-de-sac, are you? Cul-de-sac is a little loop of a street where there's houses all the way around, and it's a dead end. You want to live in a cul-de-sac if you have kids because there's no traffic, no through traffic. Sometimes they'll play, at least in Canada, road hockey on the gravel there. Beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, big houses. Stuff I'd never seen in Nova Scotia, too. So I was complimenting people on their big, beautiful houses, and it was just fun conversations. And I'm like, why? And they're like, you shouldn't go there. And then after the 3rd person told me, I was like, okay, can you please tell me what's going on with the cul-de-sac? And they're like, okay, there are some birds there that are very territorial, and because of their species, they can't be moved. And then I'm like, okay, territorial, are they going to attack me? Like, not exactly, but they will purposefully try to poop on you. And I didn't believe it. Like, that's crazy. I got to sell all these coupons. I'm going to go there. Those are fresh doors to knock on. And as I get up to the cul-de-sac, it's all about 12 houses, but I'm selling to every second door, and it's making me so much money at the time. And as I get closer, I can see all the houses are peppered in poop. The houses, the cars, the sidewalk, and 2/3 of the houses are for sale. So that was weird. I make the decision not to knock on those doors after the first bird dives at me and shits right beside me. And I literally run away screaming and laughing because it was too surreal. So then I go for lunch at guess where, the only restaurant. I see a few people that have bought coupons from me already, and they're smiling and laughing at me, and the owner is super happy. The shtick was we would convince a company not to do coupons and flyers, as in the free ones, and we'd say we'll make a coupon that's more valuable. It'll be 2-for-1, and we'll sell it, and you just have to honor them. We'll pay for the printing. We'll do all of that stuff. You just have to honor them, and we'll bring a ton of business to your business. Some businesses, like the ones that were really, really good, we sold a lot of money, they probably didn't need it, now that I think back. But our lister, our guy that listed and sold the businesses, was probably a really good sales guy. That could have been a fun job. Okay, so that was probably the least weird of the 3. The second one was kind of scary. The beginning of my territory where I started again, I had to carry a little print up paper of the map, actually photocopy. They'd give it to me. And I had such a bad sense of direction because in my earlier 20s, I started this job when I was like 21 or 22 right out of university. My early 20s during university, I was a raver and I did way too many fun things. And I lost my sense of direction through little tiny pieces of paper with illicit substances on them that you shouldn't do every weekend, no matter how cheap it is. I'm not that guy anymore. But anyway, so I carried the map with me. And even as I turned, let's say I had the map with me and it had to face the way I was facing. So if I turned, I would turn the map just so I wouldn't get lost. It's pretty funny. So I get back to the starting point and I'm standing there and I'm kind of pacing left and right, standing there, just sort of not pacing, more like marching in a spot. And I hear it squelching. It's a dry, warm day. And I look down and there is not quite yet dried blood on the pavement. And it really freaked me out. And I didn't know it was blood at the time, but it was still kind of gross and had a coppery smell, and like something about it felt wrong. I'd never been around a lot of blood before, so it didn't kind of clue in. And after a couple doors, I asked someone about it, and apparently a pit bull had mauled a kid there, like within an hour of me going there. So that really freaked me out too. And no one could tell me if the dog was still around or not. So the whole time I'm like, oh crap, looking around. Cause like I ran door to door, and I feel like a high prey drive dog seeing a coupon salesman running door to door would probably chase him. That freaked me out. I started talking about that at the doors, and I sold a lot. Oh God, there were 4 things that day. Okay. The other violent one. That's right. We talked about sales high. Yeah. The next one was about 20 minutes later down the road. Knock on a door. Door opens up this much. And it's a woman who barely shows her face. And she's like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, I'm here on behalf of something tree. She's like, I don't want any. And my fault, because of the sales high. A sales guy already knows not to say okay, goodbye to one objection. And a good door-to-door sales guy knows how to joke around and make people comfortable, but also take a no 2 or 3 times before the person gets fed up and slams the door in your face. And I was like, it's okay. Yeah, look, you just hear me out. You don't have to buy anything. I think that's something that I would say when I was younger. But I'm like, have you heard of this one restaurant in town? And I chuckle, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you eat there? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, all your neighbors are getting this, and it's only $20, which is the cost of one dinner there anyway, and you get a free dinner. So if you want to go back and take your husband and your kids and blah blah blah, and the door gets yanked open, and I noticed a bunch of things at once. The door is yanked open by the husband, slightly behind her. She's got bruises on her face, and very stereotypical image that you would see in a stupid TV show about this kind of stuff. My dog's gonna walk in. He's going to bang his head on the door. Let's let him in. I don't know if we can see him. One sec. Come on in, buddy. Yeah, you barely see him. Hi. My boy. 90-pound shepherd. I love you. His name is Kai. He's a rescue. We'll talk about him another day. He came almost fully trained. And with a little PTSD. Took almost a year to get him to cuddle instead of growl. Love you. He's pushing the top of his head on my lap right now because that's how he says I love you. All right, buddy. Back up. Come on. I don't want you to walk into the wires again. Yeah. Okay. So dude yanks open the door and just starts yelling at me. Something like, are you hitting on my wife? Why are you fucking talking to my wife? Explicit. And yeah, wife beater, greasy hair, hat, skinny white guy. Angry, so angry. And I was like, my bad, I'm sorry, I'm not hitting on her. I'm a student selling coupons. trying to lower the situation. He's like, you motherfucker. And he grabs a hunting shotgun from around the corner and screams at me. And I just turn and bolt, full speed, head down, run fast as I can. And I heard the shot go off. He did not shoot it at me. He shot it in the air. Or so he told the police later. But the cops were called and he was arrested, and it was crazy. This, maybe it's not a huge deal for some people that have been around guns, but, Canadian, this is in the 25 years ago. So this is in like early 2000s, 1 or 3, something like that. It was a pretty creepy big deal for me. I asked a couple neighbors about it afterwards because I was shook for a couple doors, and they were like, yeah, they've always had problems. And of course the police were there, but I kept on moving. Okay, so that's the one I forgot. I think I must have blocked it. I'm cleaning my other glasses right now. But yeah, that definitely added to the weirdness of the day. But the last one left on a lighter note. So it's a Saturday, and on Saturdays, you get a bonus if you sell the most, and I was almost sold out, so I was really rushing. And there's a rule that if you don't get back to the office at the same time as everybody else, if you go past a certain time, you don't qualify for the bonus, because then people are going to stay longer to try to sell all their coupons. And I had sold out, remember, and grabbed someone else's, so I had a pretty high chance of getting this bonus, and it was a significant amount of money, because it's more money based on how good the office is doing that day or that week, maybe. This one's nice. This one is a good exclamation point to the day. It's getting dark, and it's just early 2000s. I got like a lime green shirt on, which works really well with my curly red hair. I had hair. A purple cargo pants with a drawstring and no belt, and I would just pull the lime green shirt out enough so that I could come over the drawstring so people didn't know I wasn't wearing a belt. And just the cheapest dress shoes. I should have just wore like black sneakers so I didn't hurt my feet. And a Raver side bag that was made for vinyl, but I used it to carry my my coupons. It was a sight. It was definitely a sight. And I get to this door and it's dark inside and there's candles everywhere and they're lit. And it's like somewhere around a dozen women of all ages, no men, all drinking wine. Not all ages, but like of age and all the way up to like 60, drinking wine and laughing. I was like, hey ladies, and like, hey, he's here. And I'm like, hey. I'm like, yeah, my name is Sean and I'm selling coupons. They're like, sure you are, Sean. I'm like, okay. A few minutes into my pitch, they're like, take off your pants. Like, what? And it turns out they'd hired a stripper. No, I mean, they were drunk enough to think that I was him. That's what mattered. I don't look like a stripper in the early 2000s at no point in my life. At least I hope not. Anyway, it took a lot of work to be like, no, I'm actually selling coupons. And I pulled out the money and they're like, we got cash. And I'm like, no, here's the coupons. And they're like, oh, so sorry. So they ended up buying a bunch. And I left and I ended up rushing home and getting that bonus. Anyway, those 4 things all happened on the same day in the same neighborhood to the same poor little ginger sales guy in his early 20s. And I've only shared that with my closest of friends because it's such a wild day. And I thought, it'd be a good tale to talk to you guys about. Yeah, that's it. Look out for other videos. We got some weird stuff coming up. I'm going to be all over the place. I do want to talk about the 2. Well, you hear a little bit about this sales cult, but the martial arts cultish like job that I had. And we're also going to show off my voice acting demo from 2018. It's a little custy and old comparison to, I have a new tech with me now, and this room's not perfect, so the audio's not as good as I want it to be. But we're recording this live without doing any editing. So you tell me what you think. No editing whatsoever. As you can tell, I get up and walk away. I'm not video editing anything. Not for now. Maybe we'll get into it later. But for now, I just wanna talk. Just wanna make content and have fun. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Have yourself a great day. Woo!